Hello, guys. Good morning. Everybody's been asking me about the grand planetary alignment that's happening tomorrow. That would be June 24th of 2022. When you look up in the night sky between, let me pull it right up, but between about 1 in the morning and like 5 in the morning, man, and it doesn't even say like where in the world it's at that time, but anyway, tomorrow at some point in time, the planets will appear to be aligned. Okay, when you look up at the night sky in the dark, they'll be bunk, 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 bunk in like this little line. Okay, everyone wants to know, what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, interestingly, other astrologers don't really care about this. So I'm going to just show the screen here. I mean, this is from Yoga Journal, Astrology, June 2022, Astrological Forecast. And you can see we go straight from June 21st, the summer solstice. June 23rd, Venus enters Gemini. That's today. And I should probably record a whole separate video about that because that's pretty interesting. And then it just skips on here to new moon in Cancer. Okay, so astrologically speaking, this is not really considered a big deal, actually, because I'll show you the chart. Okay, here we go. This is the transit of June 24th, 2022. I just ran it for 3:30 in the morning at Springville. So these are the planets that are going to be aligned, and I'm gonna highlight them for you. Okay, the first one that's going to come into view is going to be Saturn. Okay, that's this guy who's like sitting on a chair. That's what I think of. He's sitting on a chair. Saturn in Aquarius. The next one is going to be Jupiter. Then the next one is going to be Mars, and then the next one is going to be Venus, and then the next one is going to be Mercury. Okay, and so so this is partially because an astrological wheel goes counterclockwise. Okay, it follows what's called the precession of the sun. So I'm going to use this little button to take it by 1 hour at a time. You know, maybe that's too fast. Let's go minute by minute. And we could even just, no, that's too fast. So you can see, I'm going minute by minute. And so you can see that everything is kind of like moving around. And so wherever in the sky that this article is counting from, oh, we were going backwards. Sorry, we're going to go forwards. And so let's take it a few hours back. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be just before Saturn probably moves into view, or we're just using this as an example. But you can see as we move forward, Saturn is going to cross this line, and then we'll see that shortly thereafter, Jupiter is this 4 right here. This guy is Jupiter. Ding, ding, ding. So we'll move. And then Jupiter will cross that line. So that's why they come in the order that they come, is because we're all moving counterclockwise, and this is the order that they just happen to be in. And so what we can actually do is do this, brace yourself. Okay, it's going to go 1 minute at a time. So you can see Mars is going to come next, and then this is Venus right here. So we're going to see how then she will cross that ascendant. It's kind of like the line of the horizon. And so she will come into view, and then shortly thereafter, Mercury, this little purple guy, is going to come into view. Okay, and so then we'll be able to see all of them in a row. But as you can see, look, they're not really aspecting. I mean, Saturn and Mars are aspecting. That's these little lines in the middle. Astrology is very mathematical and very geometrical, and the geometry of everything really matters a lot. And so if things are not geometrically aligned, like generally astrologers like don't really care that much. And so that's why when you look up astrological forecasts for the month, people aren't talking about this because astrologically speaking, it doesn't matter. Astronomically speaking, it does matter, but astrologically speaking, it does not matter. And so I have a video on astrology versus astronomy. But astronomers are excited about this. Astrologers basically don't super care. Now, I do think it is significant. Okay, so because anything that involves humans, the whole point of astrology is that, let's pause it. The whole point of Western astrology is that we're viewing a person's life through the lens of the stars as viewed from the planet Earth. Okay. And this is true for all, tropical or Earth-centered astrology. And then especially for a Placidus chart, which is what I read. Placidus charts look at a chart from your exact perspective from the place that you were born. An equal chart is going to look at the chart from the perspective of the minute you were born, but from the equator. Okay. And that's why every house is going to be equal in an equal chart. Okay. So anyways, the point is, it all comes back to us. That's the point of astrology. The point is you. The point is your life. And so when we look at the sky from our own perspective, we're going to see this planetary alignment. Astrologically, it's not considered significant, but personally, I do think it probably is significant, but just in ways that astrologers have yet to fully document, or at least I've never seen such documentation. It may exist and I just haven't seen it. This is the thing. Astrology can sound like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but it's actually like extremely like I don't know that I could call it science-based, but it's like very math-based. Like you have to have like a solid foundation in a lot of things. There are astrological journals. People are busy calculating orbs of planets and like all sorts of stuff. And it's like, it's precise, there's a lot of precision that goes into astrology, and just being able to see that the planets are kind of in the same space of the sky, like with your eyes, like it's not the same. But because it's all about us, I think it is worth looking at. So let's talk about what the planets are that are involved in this alignment. First, we're going to see Saturn. Okay. Saturn is the planet of karma. It's called the Lord of Karma. Saturn is the planet of consequences. So it was traditionally known as the Great Malefic, because most people don't have very good consequences, right? If you're a good person, you can expect that Saturn's presence in your life is going to bring you really good things. If you perhaps have a bunch of negative belief systems, unresolved trauma, or if you're just like plain old mean and rotten, then Saturn's going to bring you some really negative stuff. And that is not very fun. So Saturn is going to come first in Aquarius. And Aquarius is the planet, Aquarius is the sign of revolution. Okay. It goes with Uranus, so Uranus and Aquarius go together. Uranus was discovered in 1787, right between the American Revolution and the French Revolution. And I always think when it comes to Aquarius, those are kind of like the two sides of the coin. Is it going to be American Revolution? Is it going to be French Revolution, right? Is it going to be a guillotine and off with their heads and like blood in the streets? Is it going to be, more disciplined and have kind of like a clear purpose that isn't constantly changing with the winds of people's fancy or something like that? So this is karma. When it comes to issues of revolution, change, sudden change, okay? So we will come back to that. Okay, the next on the list that's going to be visible is Jupiter. And so notice there's other stuff in between here that you just can't see. And this is true every night, every single night. There's a whole ton of stuff going on. If you looked up with your eyes, it's going on, and it would probably be in a line many times, and we just don't know because it's harder to see. But and because it doesn't aspect, astrologers aren't looking at that. Okay, so Jupiter comes next. Jupiter expands anything that it touches. It's called the Great Benefic. So Saturn's the malefic, the great bad guy, and Jupiter is the great benefic, the great good guy. Anything that Jupiter touches, it expands and makes better. And it's considered a place where on a chart you can expect things like money and blessings and stuff like that. Kind of, because it goes along with this Saturn guy, right? If you're a good person, like if you've got like really positive attitude, really positive beliefs, you've been clearing your trauma, Saturn's going to bring really good stuff to you. If you put out a lot of good in the world and you align with the energy of good, Saturn is going to bring you good. Jupiter also, it's going to expand whatever is going on inside of you. Okay, so once again, are you good? Like, are you taking care of your emotional stuff? Are you healing up whatever you can in your own life? Are you really working hard to be kind to other people? This Jupiter is going to expand whatever is inside of you, especially in the realm of Aries. Okay. Aries is the sign of war. Okay. It's the sign of war, physical body health, accidents. Okay. I mean, like injuries. Okay. Early childhood. So anything so this has really some potential to expand anything in that area. If you are in good physical health, you might expect blessings on your physical health. If you're not in great physical health, I mean, it just depends. Maybe there will be good blessings on your physical health and maybe not. It will just expand whatever direction you're already heading, it will expand that direction. Okay. So, massive expansion involving whatever trajectory people are already on when it comes to physical body health, injuries, accidents. This is also going to be your personality. It's also going to be starting something new. Okay. Which gives me a thought, and we'll come back to that because next up is Mars. Okay, this is Mars, and Mars rules Aries. So this is a very, very potent energy. And to have it, this is not considered within orb of Jupiter, but it is interesting that they're showing up together. Mars and Chiron can be considered conjunct with a close enough orb. And we're just going to like double check if, my program does consider them conjunct. You can see Chiron and then Mars, and this logo means they're conjunct. Which means that they're close enough to be influencing each other. So this is the most warlike energy on a chart. Okay, this is a very proactive energy. This is the energy of a duel for somebody's honor or something like that. Like getting offended and be like, I challenge you to a duel. Okay, that's this guy. That's this energy here. And so this is a hothead energy. This is an energy of people maybe going a little bit crazy to defend things, this is a conquering energy. And also this is just an energy that starts things. Okay, so if you've been looking at starting a thing, you want to start writing a book, you want to start training for a marathon, this deals with your physical body and physical body health and like your muscles and stuff. And so you may just feel like a little oomph of like, yeah, you know what, I actually do feel like going on a run today. I hope you can't hear all the kids, or I'm at a family reunion, but I was like, I have to make this video. Okay. Up next is Venus, and Venus is the goddess of love, right? Love and relationships, motherhood, feminine energy, and it just entered Gemini. One moment. Sorry, oh my gosh, my kids are crazy. Okay. Okay. Venus is at 1 degree of Gemini tomorrow. Right now, it's just transiting in this moment that I'm recording it. It's just going into Gemini, but it'll be in 1 degree Gemini tomorrow. And Gemini is very curious. It's the most curious sign on the chart. It deals with short trips. It deals with the expansion of horizons, but in a small way. I always call it like the kindergarten teacher. It's the one that's out there saying like, look, this is water, you can drink it. Like, look, this is air, you can breathe it. Like it kind of focuses on the basics, but it wants to know a little bit about everything. It's, if you think of like a little kindergartner and they go to kindergarten and they don't know anything about anything, and you got to really teach them from the beginning. They're learning the alphabet, they're learning the numbers, they're learning how to count stuff, they're learning about leaves, they're doing little leaf rubbings with their little crayons, they're on a little nature walk, and they're just taking in everything about the world around them. And so Venus and Gemini, that's the energy that we're looking at, is a feminine energy that's going to be really curious and learning about a lot of things. Gemini is also it can be two-faced, because its big concern is authenticity versus putting up a projection of what you want to see. And so a lot of times people with a lot of Gemini energy, Gemini sun, Gemini moon, any like big cluster in Gemini, they have a big question about, are they being authentic in their self-expression? Gemini is like a very expression oriented sign. Are they being authentic? Are they really saying what they mean? And so we can be seeing perhaps some deception, maybe not necessarily intended to be as deception. Like the thing with Gemini is a lot of times it is intentional to put up a false front, but it's not malicious. Okay, does that make sense? So we may be seeing some little capacity for deception when it comes to feminine energies in our lives. And this is also going to be money. Venus deals with money. It deals with all feminine energy, which involves receiving money. And so when it comes to receiving money, might we be deceived? And like, obviously we're looking at hyperinflation going crazy right now. And in one of my Facebook groups, we're seeing people that every single day, like they're like, I went to the grocery store yesterday, or like last week it was $100, this week it's $200, And so, yeah, I think we have a strong capability of having a misalignment between what is the real worth of our money and the fake worth of our money. And that is what that is all about. I mean, one of the many things it is about. And then finally, we have Mercury, which deals with communication and, again, self-expression. Mercury rules Gemini, so they are little best friends, and Mercury is the landlord of Gemini. And so this is just a double whammy of that curious energy, that fast-moving energy, the kindergartner on maybe not a nature walk, but a nature run, running through and like, oh, it's trees, oh, it's roots, oh, it's sidewalks, oh, it's grass. Learning a lot of things, wanting to talk about a lot of things. But again, Gemini struggles with authenticity. Are we going to be learning the real truth? Are we going to be subjected to projections in communication that are not perhaps what they seem? This could be an energy of censorship, right? What is true versus the projection. Okay, this is going to be the energy of fact checking, both true fact checking of like, oh, you got it wrong, this is really false. And then like the fake fact checking, which we've all seen many times as well. Basically, we're going to be seeing this energy of just a mismatch in authenticity with communication. And we're already seeing it. We're 11 degrees into this. And actually, Mercury has been in Gemini for kind of a while because it went retrograde and then it stationed direct. And now it's just 11 degrees in. So it'll be there for a little bit longer as well. And then again, Venus just barely entered Gemini. And so it will be there for a while as well. And so we've got a lot of this going on as far as like what is true and what is not true. Okay, so let's kind of put it all together. So we have these karmic consequences. And the thing is, Aquarius also deals with humanitarianism. Aquarius would definitely be, Aquarius is a political activist a lot of times. Aquarius, that's like the energy of activism, okay? And so Aquarius energy, during the pandemic, I always said Aquarius is going to be the one that is the most pro mask mandate and the most anti-mask mandate at the same time. It's just going to depend person to person because it is so humanitarian minded. It just depends on, does that personal Aquarius believe that masks help, or do they believe that they don't help? Do they believe that masks are going to save everybody's lives? Do they believe that masks are going to give everybody pleurisy and be just as dangerous in a different way? And just depending, you're going to get people that are really vehemently against masks and people that are very vehemently for masks because they think that because of what they think the role of masks is in the future of humanity. Okay, and they want to bless humanity on both sides, and that's something to remember. People will disagree with you in different aspects of politics and how we should run things, but when it comes to Aquarius, it's always motivated from a space of humanitarianism and wanting to serve. Like they may be, so I would say I'm anti-totalitarian, myself. But I understand that many of my more totalitarian friends out there have a lot of Aquarian influence. They honestly think that they're doing the right thing. Like they honestly believe that more government control over humans is like better because it's going to make the world a better place. And so that's something to remember. But back to Saturn and Aquarius, we may be seeing some karmic retribution for humanitarianism gone wrong. Okay, that in retrograde right there, that is the thought that's coming to my mind. And I just had a big talk this morning with my parents about some political stuff that's going on right now. And a lot of it seems humanitarian on the surface, but perhaps it will not be, as far as like we were talking about the unmitigated flow of undocumented migrants from the southern border. And on the one hand, we can say our humanitarian impulses, well, of course, come to America. America is so great. We want to bless the world, right? And so that's like a very humanitarian, very Aquarian sort of impulse. But then on the other hand, we have all these people coming in and bringing their children. Maybe their children don't speak English. Maybe they're all put in public schools. And then, but who's going to pay for it? Well, probably documented people that pay taxes are going to be paying for that. But now all the teachers can't focus on the children of the people paying the taxes. Now they're going to have to go teach English from scratch to, people that have never learned it. And like, on the one hand, you can say, well, yay, they're learning English. They're going to fit into society. And then on the other hand, you're going to have people that are going to say, oh no, like this is such a drain on our resources. We can't pay for it. Okay. And so that was just a little example, okay, of that kind of dynamic that we may be seeing, but we may be seeing some situations in the coming months where we're seeing our humanitarian impulses as a nation are perhaps leading to consequences that are not very fun, and we may be having to pay the piper a little bit. Saturn is going to make you pay. Saturn always makes you pay. That's what it does. It makes you pay. What humanitarian stuff have we been up to that we're going to have to pay for, that we thought was going to be this really good blessing for people, but it actually wasn't, or maybe it was, but not in ways we expected. And maybe it came with some prices to pay that are not that fun to pay. Okay, so this is something to keep an eye on. And I want to pause real quick because I just want to remind you that tomorrow, like astrological events, when they happen, you don't really expect something like that minute. Okay. I'm not expecting that by 4:49 a.m. Utah time, we're going to have like a massive event, and it was really interesting that during the first Pluto return, of course, that very day, probably that very hour was when the Russia-Ukraine conflict like truly began with boots on the ground. So it does happen, but it didn't happen in America, and it was America's Pluto return, right? And our next one is coming up on July 11th, and we're going to talk more about that. But I just wanted to say, this is the starting of a clock. If this alignment actually matters, which it's debatable, but it is interesting. If it does matter, we're going to be seeing the ramifications play out over probably, the number coming to my mind is 6 months. A lot of these are slow moving planets. Saturn has a 29-year cycle. They're not that slow moving. They're not generational planets, but this is a 29-year cycle. This is a 12-year cycle. This is a 2.5-year cycle, 18 months. And then this guy is like a, couple months cycle. But overall, 30 years is a long time. We're going to probably see whatever this is play out over several months. But this is the energy of paying the piper for humanitarian instincts that may have had unintended consequences. Retrograde is going to make it so that whatever shows up for that, whatever paying the piper we have to do, is probably going to be long and stretched out, probably not very fun. Okay, back to Jupiter. Jupiter, a massive expansion of Aries energy. And then, of course, Mars in Aries is here too. This Jupiter and Mars situation, that has been going on with like the school shooting that people have been talking about. Fires, okay, Mars and Aries is like a fiery energy. And I had a big drama with the giant fire in Flagstaff. It started as we were driving to Flagstaff, and we had to get rerouted several hours out of our way to go around this enormous fire. So we may be seeing fires in quotation marks because it's all symbolic. We may be seeing literal true fires. We may be seeing the fires of people's hot-headedness flaring up, people's tempers flaring up in kind of an expansive way. This is a sign that can deal with anger issues. Okay, are we going to be seeing some anger issues in ourselves, in the people around us, in a major way? This can deal with stress, And so are we going to see some major stress? And then are we going to be blessed in that stress, or is it just going to be magnified? The negative energies of it, is it just going to be magnified? We'll just have to see for ourselves. And then coming down here to Venus and Mercury, both in Gemini. And I had mentioned that Venus here can deal with money. She is the landlord of Taurus who deals with money. And I don't know, Venus and Gemini, that deception around money, or like inauthenticity around money. The word coming into my mind is counterfeit. And sorry, I'm like, message. What I'm hearing is just to expect counterfeits. Expect counterfeits when it comes to money, when it comes to value and worth, and possibly around just general feminine energy. If you have a lot of women in your life that might be communicating in ways that are not completely authentic with you. But on a global level, this to me, I'm thinking we need to expect counterfeits when it comes to money, which when you think about it, printing a bunch of money that nobody earned, money that is not tied to value in any way, that is a counterfeit. We are basically flooding our economy with counterfeit bills on purpose, but they're like legal tender because the government is just printing them off. They're not tied to any kind of thing that anybody created. They are worthless. They're flooding the market and just diluting the power of the dollars that are tied to people's value, and that, or sorry, the value that people have created, you know. Anyway, I think we're going to see some big energies around, you know, how much money do we think we have? How much money do we actually have? You know, it's like, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys this, you know, you live it every day, but it's like $5, you know, back, you know, 3 years ago or something, that could buy you it could buy you at least 2 gallons of gas. These days it can't, you know. These days, I mean, we're paying a solid $5 for 1 gallon of gas here. And I don't know, I think we're going to see probably some more of that, and a lot more of people recognizing it, bringing it back to Mercury. Mercury is the thinker of the chart, and Mercury is probably going to start recognizing a little bit of this that's going on, bringing it all into the conscious mind, being curious about it, expressing about it, okay, talking about it. We may see that these energies of paying the piper around humanitarian instincts, a massive expansion of this kind of warlike energy and hot-headedness and tempers. It's all linked to this, you know, perhaps misalignment in authenticity around value and worth of things, and then bringing that all into the conscious awareness. And so if this is a real thing, then that is my interpretation of it. Okay, if it really is important, then that is my interpretation. I will say, having looked at it now, I think it very well could be important, and I think that very well could be the case. And we'll just have to take a look and see how it plays out. Astrologically, meh, you know, it's not really like considered a big deal. Like, this is not a, you know, it's not a big deal astrologically. But if it is, then that is how I would interpret it. And so there we have it. Okay. Okay, guys, I hope that was helpful to you. We're going to keep our eyes on hot-headedness and tempers, inauthenticity and communication, and keeping an eye out for what is true versus what is being projected as being true. And then just keeping an eye on what have we done as a nation and personally that we thought was going to be of real service, and then it turned out not to be. Okay. Well, that's it for today. And I hope that you have the best day ever. Bye.